You should be making a jewelry giving tree. Do you want to make your craft sale table more interesting? Do you want a really cool display on your coffee table that will make all your guests be like, "What is this?" And give you an opportunity to sell your jewelry right from your living room? Do you want a fun project that just takes all the stress out of working with wire because there's really no way to mess up? There's no right or wrong. It's just fun. Then you should make a jewelry giving tree. Grab some wire. 20 or 18 gauge should work. I'm going to use 18 gauge because it stands out a little bit more and it holds its structure better. But if you use enough 20 gauge, it'll work just as well. Stretch out about 7 strands, maybe 16 to 18 inches long each. That's about ½ a meter if you're not in the land of freedom. Take the strands roughly in the middle and twist. Now, if you just try to twist it like this, it's going to be very hard on your wrists. However, if you turn it one side up and one side down like this, then you get like leverage, kind of like a lever thing going on. So it's much easier to twist at that point. And you can take it from there. You can make it spiral and do actually kind of cool stuff that would make your trunk look extra weird, but you can play with it some more and it starts to look kind of like a bonsai type cool thing going on. So never be afraid of weird. Weird is your friend. Weird is so much better than standard, normal, plain. You definitely want to aim for weird, so don't judge yourself. Tell your tree it's beautiful and twist the crap out of it and move on. And so these are the branches. So leave more on one side. Pick which side has more. And I don't know what I'm doing here, so I'm just gonna play with this as I go. These are kind of fanned out already. I was gonna make each one into like a loop like that and then build a base, but now I think I wanna try something cooler. It might be a total disaster, but that's the spirit of it. Just try stuff. So I'm fanning these out, right? Trying to make them separate like this. So it's starting to look a little bit like a very, very awful broom. And let's see, if we fan these, maybe we can make like a really cool base. Right, we need this to stand straight up. So we need a right angle like right there. And then I'm gonna wrap these around like this. So I got like kind of like a sea creature pinwheel thing going on. That's cool. All right, that's already, look at that, it stands up as it is already. All right, I'm gonna make these a little bit more equidistant. So I basically just started looping this and turning it into a swirl until I got enough leverage to roll it with my fingers. You can make it a tight swirl, or I kind of like this loose swirl. Do this to the others. So just take an end, hold it right on the tip, bend it into a nice loop. Make sure the loop is touching the wire. Pinch it, squeeze it tight, make sure it's not sticking out, and then slowly make little turns and kind of bend it in. Keep going with it like this until you have a nice swirl going on, and then you can roll it the rest of the way with your fingers. If it's too hard for your fingers, you can hold it this way and roll it, but you don't want to slip and scratch the wire. Once you have all of them, again, try to stretch them out so they're equally covering all of the space you'll need for your platform. And then stand it up, see how it stands. That one's falling to the side, but that's because all the weight is right here. So put the weight more up here like this. Stands pretty okay. I'm feeling like this might be a little bit unstable, so I'm gonna put it on something. You could use a coaster, a piece of wood, anything you find around, even a piece of cardboard is fine. I happen to have this piece of wood that's painted multicolor because I did a ton of painting wood last year for different projects. So this is gonna fit nicely, and you could just scotch tape it down. You don't have to be perfect for now. I'm gonna staple gun it because that's fun. And there we go, I had to cut it to fit better. Another thing you could do is take the wire and just wrap it right over your base, whatever your base is, as long as it's just a little bit heavier, and then take the wire and kind of twist it up and flatten it, whatever, underneath, as long as it doesn't wobble. I'm gonna separate these strands into branches, have them fan out in every direction. Okay, here comes the fun part. Get yourself a whole bunch of different kinds of beads. Funky ones, fun ones, weird shapes, cool patterns. Okay, fan out each branch and take it separately as your own special project now. Take the full length of it, try to find the middle, kind of divide it into 3 sections in your brain, like this. So we have about 3 equal sections. Take the middle section like this, and you want to make a loop at either end. You want to start with this loop right here, and just wrap it around. Probably be easier to get your round nose pliers in there. Make yourself a nice little loop, like the size of a small jump ring. And that locks in that part right there. Now, for the next middle section, you want to fill it up with beads that you think would make a nice pendant. Or you could put in some slightly larger pieces. But this section right here is going to maybe turn into a necklace pendant. So plot out some pretty designs that you think will work and string away. Now make a right angled bend against your last bead. Get your round nose pliers and make another little loop. Just kind of roll that into place. Now this is the part where I learned. You want to use way more wire or longer wire, twice as long as I said, because what I originally imagined is that you could cut this off and then you could use these strands to wrap around each other and do a cool design. As it is, I'm still going to be able to cut it off, but I'm not going to have much room except to make a curlicue on each side. And that's still going to be pretty cool. Take these ends and start making our curlicue, spiral, swirl, whatever you want to call it. Take your flat nose, make sure that's very tight, it's not going to scratch, and then start rolling it. You can make a tight spiral or a loose spiral, meaning there's more space. A loose spiral is a little easier because you can get the pliers in there and just kind of turn it like this. You can even make it wonky and have like sharp angles where it's kind of triangular and funky. But this branch is done. All right, let's move to the next one. Bam. Separate it into thirds. Make a loop. Stack the beads. I'm going to make one little tiny loop. I can always undo it, but that will keep it from reaching out and scratching somebody because we don't want that. We don't want anybody to get stabbed. Next branch. All right, this time, let's get funky and crazy. We're going to make our loop way closer to the base so we have more room to play with adding extra beads. And something else I'm learning as I'm doing this is 18 gauge is really challenging. Some of you might have more dainty fingers, so I'm not telling you not to challenge yourself, but I give you permission to use 20 gauge. I would not go thinner than 20 gauge, but you might find 18 gauge to be too challenging on your first one, and I think 20 gauge is close enough. It'll still do all the other things you want it to do. Also make sure your beads fit. They fit the wire gauge that you picked. And we're just gonna make our right angle right here, and then we're gonna make another right angle, boom, and add some more beads. Slightly larger blue crystals, these iridescent flat rondelles, and a much larger 10mm amethyst. Another right angle, and another one, and we're going to copy these again. And a loop. And a loop to end it. Funky weirdness. Fun. So here's our tree right now. And the coolest thing about it was that you could put it on your table at your craft sale or on your coffee table at home or dining room table or bookshelf. And people will come and say, oh, what is that? And you say, that is my jewelry giving tree. And of course, the first question is, well, how does it give? What does it give? And that's when you say, pick which branch you like best and I will make it into a necklace for you. What? This one? Let's do it. Cut it right at the base. This is where having longer branches would help, because if I had more wire here, I could take this and loop it around here, wrap it there. And I could take this end, if it was stretched out much more, loop it around there, and do that. But that's where trial and error comes from. And that's why I wasn't afraid to make this video, having never done it before, except imagining it. And therefore, you shouldn't be afraid to make it and mess it up and make it as funky and weird and crazy as you can. You don't even need to follow my rules. Just have fun putting beads on wire and then squiggling it all up. And then cutting off pieces and making it into necklaces. So even without the extra wire, this is easy enough. I can take this part here and roll it up like this. So it's a cute little swirl, or I can keep it down below and just roll it in tighter. I can do the same at the top. This will be my loop to catch onto the pendant. Wrap it around here. Wrap it around here. And then give myself a little swirl right here. Like a little accent against the main stone, which, by the way, I believe this is a solar aura quartz. They're really cool if you can get one, if you can come across one. Sometimes we do live shows at night where we sell different stones and crystals, and sometimes we have these. So check that out too. How cute. I think I'm gonna unravel this one and try to make it mirror that one. Let's see if I can pull it off. You gotta stretch, flatten out those kinks I made before we go further. Hopefully the wire won't break on me. And then unravel it a little bit, not all the way. And then wind it up. Success! That'll make a cute pendant. But wait, there's more. Remember when we did this branch where there was like some beads and then a bend, some beads and then a bend, then some beads? Well, purposely, these two match, and then this one kind of matches, but it's a little bigger, because these are going to be earrings, and this will be a pendant. What? Yes. Just make sure you leave enough wire in each spot for there to be a loop. Again, I might not have done it. That might be enough for a tiny loop, but maybe not a big one. I'll have to be real careful to muscle it in. But you guys will learn, again, from my mistakes, how to do it better. Oh, look at that. 2 earrings and a pendant. Yay! Just loop and cut. Oh, we did it. That side just has to close. This side, whoa, I don't know if we'll get this side. Yes, definitely give yourself more wire in between the pieces so you're not super, super cramped like this. But I'm stubborn enough to get this. And that's enough to make a pendant. Got the jump ring in. Now put a thin little chain. And see how these are just kind of scraggly? Well, make the loops at the top of here and then make cute little curly cues with the extra wire here. But it gets better. This tree is looking kind of sparse now that I cut 2 of the branches off, even though they made amazing jewelry. Something else you can do is find each of these little loops you made, and this is why you might want to make extra loops, and hang pre-made little pendants and earrings off of them. So instead of doing all the work of twisting and turning, when somebody wants one, you can simply unloop it, hand it to them, close the loop, and boom, more jewelry. The jewelry giving tree can hold an almost infinite amount of earrings and necklaces, maybe even bracelets. Go and make your jewelry giving tree the most fun, cool item you have on your table, whether at your craft sale or at home on your coffee table or bookshelf or mantle. Oh, I almost forgot this fun part. If you make your branches longer than I did, this might be long enough to do it with this one. Take the wire and come across like this. Try to make it into a nice arc. So we're gonna make these come around in separate arcs, like this. Try to get it as smooth of a curve as you can. Do your best. And then lock it around the next loop. And start to wrap kind of a scarf around a few times. Again, try to make your curve as smooth as you can, and wrap this one. Now wait, this jewelry tree is looking really sparse. We cut off 3 branches and it's already looking like bleh. You you can reinforce it and build it back up so you never need to make a whole new tree from scratch. Just take more wire and add it on. First, you want to make a little curlicue at one end because, again, sharp pointy ends are always something to be careful to eliminate. So we're gonna make a little spiral here. And man, 20 gauge is so much easier. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little curlicue. And then start it down at the base here and just flatten it in and start to wind it around the trunk. That's it. Your trunk will start to become thicker too, which will make your tree look more like a tree. Wrap it up. Kind of makes it look more gnarled and cool also. Until it's at the top. And then you have another branch. And look how big I made this one. That means we're gonna have a lot of fun putting some cool jewelry stuff on here and twisting it all up. Yay!